What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. And where do all fights start? Round one. We have an amazing show for you here put together today. Let's talk about it. Man, how you guys doing out there? Not a lot of boxing going on. There is a boxing match going on tonight, but I came to talk about Naoya Inoue and his situation. So we're gonna break down all that and who they got for his opponent, what the top rank do, all that and more. Join us here at Round One Sports Talk. Don't forget to give these videos a like and subscribe to the channel. What's up, guys? I'm gonna let you guys start to fill in here, and I'm just gonna go and set this up right here, real quick. There we go. Get that going. All right. Well, I was running a little bit behind today, and I didn't know if I was gonna go on. In fact, but I did. Frontline in the building. How you doing, my man? Good to see you. And there was a lot of rumors speculating about this Sam Goodman and Naoya Inoue fight. And from beginning of this fight, I said it. I said that this guy didn't seem like he wanted to fight Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue being one of the most explosive boxers we have in boxing today. He is currently the 122-pound undisputed champion of the world. He has all four belts. And what more can you say about the man? His accomplishments speak for themselves, where that he is a two-division, all four belt. He has all four belts and two weight divisions. And his career has been less than stellar. I can honestly say, every time I expect to see him fight, I expect that oh wow moment. That moment that brings you out of your seat. When you see that knockout or that, you know, um, that stoppage. Naoya Inoue is typically is gonna bring that kind of fight to your doorstep. So we're gonna talk about him. I'm gonna bring up his opponent and how fast Box Rec is on their game too as well. So let me catch up to your comments. Hey Edwin. Yeah, yeah, Mark. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna break this down right now, Mark. Yeah, yeah. You saw the short? That was what's up. Yeah, trying to step it up, on front line, trying to step it up, taking the advice, brother, you know. So here, let me also pull you guys up here too as well because I wanna there's something else that you had told me about thumbtacking like that link thing right there. So I'm gonna go to my YouTube page, hit this, and see if I can do exactly that. How would I get there? Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. Ah. Okay. Let's see here. All right, now I'm here. How do I do that? Goes. Let's see here. Oh, I got some new options here. I'm gonna mess with this later on. Oh, I see. All right, I'm gonna mess with that a little bit. All right, so let's get right back into this. What you saying here, Mark? Mark, come on. What are you doing here, Mark? Are you taking over my show? Let me get to that. Mark, let me build up the suspense. No, Mark didn't. Told you guys the ending of the damn movie already. Let's all thank Mark. Mark, we know the outcome of this one right here, buddy. And let's just get right to it, okay? it is what it is. We have nobody to be upset about here but Sam Goodman and his camp, which, I'm starting to question under whose supervision did you allow your fighter to suffer two cuts, not one, but two weeks leading into the fight? Your guy's getting caught like that, and you expect him to do what against probably, arguably, the best fighter we have in our era today? And he's getting busted up like that by who? I'm trying to tell you guys, you need to get those sparring partners in there with Naoya Inoue. They seem to be busting up this guy anyway. They seem to be better than him, right? I want to get those guys' names, but yet, this is what they did. Okay, let's break it down. This right here is the guy that they went and got. This is him. Let's check ahead. Let's check out who he is. Can you guys see him good? Yep. There's his name. Yi Jun Kim. He has 21 fights, 13 knockouts, 2 losses, and 2 either no contests, but 13 knockouts. He's a South Korean fighter, 5'4". He's 32 years old. And this guy does not stand a chance against Naoya Inoue. Yo, listen, hey, you want to know something? Thank you, Kim. Thank you for stepping up and taking the fight on short notice. Thank you. Thank you for saving the card. Thank you for allowing Naoya Inoue to come out and fight. And thank you for being a warrior and the fighter that you are, and you accepted such a challenge. So right now, from me to you, thank you. We get to see Naoya Inoue. We're weeks out from the fight. I just want to see him fight again. You're gonna go in there and give it your all, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's just not gonna be enough. I don't think. All right, this guy right here. Wow, that's a lot of his first fight, 3-0. He fought a guy 2-1, no fights. Okay, that's early career. Let's see. He steps it up. Okay. He's got a Tico. He went the decision, 12-round decision, 12 round. He's got 12-round experience. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he went up and down on 10s. Wow, he dropped all the way down to 8. And he fought a guy with 2-0. Wow, that was did he come off a big layoff, or what was the problem? All right, 2018 to 2019. Wasn't really that long to drop back down to an 8th-round fight. He goes back up to 12-round experience, drops back down to 8. Then he loses a fight in an 8-rounder to this guy. Who did he lose to? Who's this guy? This gets worse. This gets worse. This guy's got 10 losses. He's been knocked out 3 times. 4 knockouts, 15 victories, 37 years of age. Well, how old was he when he fought Yo Kim here? Let's see. Right here. It was just a recent fight at 122 pounds, and he beat him. He got the majority, and he was coming off of 2 losses. Oh, this gets worse. This gets just worse. All right, let's get back to your boy. And look at this. The Box Rec, they're on their game, right? Sam Goodman's out. Who they got down here? His next opponent, Naoya Inoue. Bro, his record is 20. He's coming off a massive winning streak. This has got to be this guy's is by far toughest opponent, right? He's coming off his last fight is a 10-rounder. That's what I wanted to see. Let me get back on schedule with him. His last fight was a 10-rounder. He does have 12-round experience. And it didn't seem when he got up to that level, he stood there. That win is very alarming with a guy with only 4 knockouts. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. Okay, yeah. Has he ever been knocked out? No, he's never been knocked out. In his 2 losses, he's never been knocked out. He's never been KO'd. So, in fact, Naoya Inoue would introduce him to being knocked out for the first time. I might sit here and be laughing about this guy and everything, but these are those tricky, scary fights. No research, very little time to prepare. Naoya Inoue is enough skilled fighter. He doesn't really need. He's not that kind of fighter that he relies on. He listen. Preparation is preparation, right? Okay, but he's learned more than this. Probably he's fought. Naoya Inoue has probably forgotten about more about boxing than this guy knows. That's what I'm trying to say. That I don't think the experience gap here. Naoya Inoue can take this kind of risk against this kind of guy and go out there and kind of just wing it, so to speak. He has enough skills that he doesn't really need a game plan to knock this guy out. Naoya Inoue has probably fought the majority of his early career with very little footage or game plan to any of his opponents if he had footage on these guys at the time. Let's remember Naoya Inoue is coming back from the era where he actually fought on HBO. Naoya Inoue fought on HBO. Just remember that. Like, it's not like Naoya Inoue is a young fighter. He hasn't been in the game in a minute or something. No, he's been around for a long, for a little while. So Naoya Inoue has 28 fights, 25 ways by knockouts. He is undefeated. He's never been knocked out. He got knocked down by Luis Pantera Nari, but he got up and brutalized that man. He is 31 years old. He has 28 bouts. He has 169 rounds boxing experience. The reason why I slowed down right there, remember when we went back and we looked at Saul Canelo Alvarez's round experience? He had 545 rounds boxing experience. 545 rounds boxing experience. This guy has 169 rounds boxing experience, and with only 169 rounds boxing experience, he managed to climb up 4 weight divisions and conquer 2 of them. I want you to think about that. The success that he put together in a shorter period of time, it's truly phenomenal. And it speaks for itself. Like, I don't gotta gas him up. It's right here, bro. So, look, he has it just never moves, bro. 89% knockout ratio. It has been 89% since his last 10 knockouts. BoxRec does not give him. They be hating, I think, sometimes. 5-5, because I'm trying to tell you, I don't know. By percentage wise, if I don't know. I mean, yeah, he has a lot, he did a lot early, but 25 to 20 to 28, only 3 of them? I would think that would be higher. They be hating on him. Nicknamed the Monster, my man. Well, since he's undefeated, I could save you guys the suspense. This is just gonna be all green in this area. That means indicating a real winner. When you see just green bars, indicate winning. Okay, the W right there, and that's really what matters. And it's just gonna be a row of W's since he's undefeated. The cat's out of the bag. I can't hide it. And this is just all everybody that he beat. Hold on. I wanted to also show you guys something. Where was that fight? This is it right here. This is it. He fought in the United States, right? Carson City, huh? Is that where that fight went down at? Okay, if you have a chance, go watch this fight right here. This is the fight right here. That's where he fought on HBO in America. Naoya Inoue. He fought on HBO against him. Antonio Nieves. That's who he fought against on HBO. Just in case you're wondering. And you see right here where it says United States, that's because he fought in the United States. And right here, these are Japan fights. Wherever you see the red dot right here, that's Japan fights. So, look, all his early fights, all Japan, right? All Japan, all Japan. Then he came to America. This fight right here is when we were going through the corona epidemic and we was going through like a real bad, like it was the start of it. That's when they were like, and then he comes back to America, right? He went, okay, that was in the World Series of Boxing. That's when he fought Emmanuel Rodriguez in the World Series of Boxing out there in Brit, where they held the event, right? He fought out there, but hold up. Then right here, Jason Maloney, right here, he fought in America, and then he fought his next fight in America, back-to-back fights in America. And he tried to get him in, but we were going through a very interesting time with the corona, and that's why a lot of people might not know about him. You see, but he has fought in America several times already. And this thing, I just want to make sure that if you're a new somebody watching new, look, he's had multiple fights in America. All right. So, that's just one thing I wanted to point out with him. Right. So now, you know, Sam Goodman is out. This guy's in. Good luck, my man. Where does Naoya Inoue go from here? So let's talk about this. Let me read some of your comments. Let me catch up to you guys in the comment section. What's up, guys? How you guys doing tonight? Let's talk about this. Come on. Let's get in boxing talk mode here. You know? What do you guys got to say about this too? You know, oh yeah, Mark, it was just like before everything kicked off. We still had crowds. There was a crowd there that night for that Naoya Inoue fight when he came to America. It was just before it started kicking off. Right after that fight is when you started hearing on the new put on the mask and then they started implementing all these like stipulations with the plastic and the convenience stores. And I remember it was just like we were just coming into it, like boom. It was right around that time. I remember. My memory could be a little off here, but yeah, I remember it being something like that. Then when he fought Jason Maloney, that's when everything really shut down. There was no crowd in that fight. And that fight in particular, if you was to put that fight, like play that fight in Las Vegas, it would have been a banger. Straight banger, bro. Jason Maloney, man. And sometimes Jason Maloney was fighting and everything, but I think the one key factor in that fight was the energy from the crowd. If he was fighting in America at least, we would have had a rowdy crowd. No matter if they didn't know what two fighters, Americans know what they seeing. They know a good fight when they see one, and we would have been all rowdy. Yo, we probably didn't even know what name or which the Australian dude or the Japanese dude, but we could tell that they would be fighting, and they were fighting like cold, no energy, no cheering, no, the people getting behind you. And there was in that you could hear it was kind of eerie at that time. You could hear every punch. Shit, you could hear the corner's instructions. It was so quiet in there. You could drop a pin, man. And but that fight in not Madison Square, with Jason Maloney, that fight right there was a good fight though for Naoya anyway. He just didn't get that worldwide And then remember after the fight, they interviewed him on the platform, and the dude is standing 6 feet away from him, and they got him up there like this, like, it was just a bad time for sports during that time. And now this guy's stepping up right now on real short notice to save this card and to give Naoya Inoue an opportunity at, you know, showing the world, and also moving on his schedule. Naoya Inoue has plans. You got a lot of people you got to pay right now. He could come out of pocket for this. I'm not saying the man don't got no money, but there's a lot of people that came out, rented hotels, bought tickets. They even did it for the first one. You know how many fans you gonna have mad that flew in from the US just to get eyes on this dude? Like, I know this kid out there in Japan. He's been out there since December, and he ain't came back. And when they announced the Sam Goodman, yo, I felt bad for him. Now they're getting a replacement. He might just get to see Naoya Inoue for the first time. So, um, a lot of people want to see him, and we want answers. We want to see what are you gonna do, bro? Naoya Inoue. What's up, man? 122, bro. All right. You made your point. You made your point, Naoya Inoue. You bullied everybody there. They all scared of you, bro. You cleaned house, you cleaned the division. There's just nobody there left. Even if you fight MJ tomorrow, I don't think that's going to satisfy the fans. Not the majority. The majority of your fans know what's up. You already beat the shit out of Marlon Tapales. We seen what he did to MJ. Styles make fights, but they're not far off in styles. I don't really see where the threat lies in MJ, or the whole division's hope is on MJ, that he's that much of a threat to Naoya Inoue. It's not that serious. Good fight, okay. He'll do some things, yeah. He'll make it a fight, yes. Uh, does MJ win that fight? Hell no. There's nobody else there at 122. There's just nobody else. So the announcement of Uncle Bob, saying that his next fight, once he gets this shit out of the way. So this is why a lot of us truly want this fight to kick off. It was never for Sam Goodman. It was never for Yi Jung Kim or whoever. It was never about them. We were watching this fight truly as fans, and I'm gonna speak for myself. Am I saying anything wrong? If you agree, let me get an R1 in the chat, right? We were just watching it for him at this point. We want him to make that decision, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the boxing world is gonna get flipped on an axis the minute Naoya Inoue says, you know what, I'm going to 126. The boxing world's gonna lose their mind, because that's close enough. That's close enough to the 130. You know how, like, the glamour divisions, the other day I was talking about them, talking about the glamour divisions, right? And I was saying that they're the most watched division: 130, 135, 140, 147, sometimes 154, and the heavyweight. Those are the glamour divisions in boxing. Sometimes I go, and sometimes 154, depending who's there, that it will become a real watch division, because it's had its share of champions, because they all end up there, from the Sugar Rays, the Camachos, the Floyds. They all end up there, so there's sometimes it's that division. So 122, 126 is going to play that role. Sometimes glamour divisions 126. The needle's just going to go that way. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, bro. I guarantee it. The needle's just going to go that way, and he's really going to bring eyes to the 126. He's also bringing the name he made for himself, the money train, too. No matter where Naoya Inoue go, let's just face it, that's the cash cow of that division. Of those lower weight divisions, Naoya Inoue is him. Can we all agree to that? And I'm gonna tell you right now, he enters that 126. There ain't nobody at 126 making the kind of money Naoya Inoue is making. Hell no. There are barely guys making that at 130. There's no one at 130 making his money. And in fact, absolutely no one. So as he's moving up, there's a lot of eyes on that man. There's opportunity, there's money, there's legacy. He provides everything for you. And then in time and era where we were just talking about this, is the O more important than the belts or legacy? When are we going to go back to a point in time in boxing where the names on your resume was more important than anything? The men you shared the ring with, they're like, yeah, who you fight? Check it out. I fought. You know what I mean? And although Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Act, they all lost. To who? To some of the greatest fighters. On their resume, you'll see top guys. You was to look at Oscar De La Hoya's resume, you're just like, wow, legend, Hall of Fame fighter, Hall of Fame fighter, legend, Hall of Fame fighter. If you were to take Tank Davis's resume right now and go, who the fuck is that? Who? You're gonna notice a couple names. Ain't no Hall of Famers. Ain't one Hall of Famer on that record. How many Hall of Famers does Terrence Crawford have, as a matter of fact? 4 or 5? He's got some good guys on his now. That's good. That's good. How many these are the things we need to ask ourselves. How many Hall of Fame fighters have Saul Canelo Alvarez faced in his reign ever? And all 61 of those fights, how many of those guys that he went up against are going to the Hall of Fame? How many of them were multiple division world champions? How much weight does his resume hold? And I think these young men today need to recognize and open their eyes to that. Fuck this old shit. It's not about the old, bro. And you know what makes Ryan Garcia so deadly? Is that he set himself free from that old shit. Now he's just a crazy kid challenging everybody. Real threat, huh? Real wild card, Ryan Garcia. I don't know what we're going to get. But I knows one thing, after that suspension is over, he's coming back. So whether you love or hate him, he'll be back. He's coming back to the sport. So we'll see what happens with him. But a real wild card. You know? And when you look back at Ryan Garcia's resume, you're going to see Ryan Garcia for fucking Tank Davis, Devin Haney. Shit, wasn't Devin Haney undisputed? It's a good name to have on your resume, kid. Shit, you ain't had no world championships, but it seems like you're fighting some of the top guys. Can I say that about all the other top guys? Who else fought Tank? I'll wait. Who else had the balls to go in the ring with him? It took you? Really, the guy with no belts, the guy that got no championship experience, went and... There's something wrong with this era today. And it's this old shit that they trying to protect. Oh, I want to retire undefeated. I won't take that much risk. Now that fight is too risky. Rather than having these kind of names on your resume, guys. So what do you guys think about that? Yo, you guys ain't right. Yeah, I see you, Frontline. I see you. I see you. I got jokes today. uh, hope to see at least 3 to 4 rounds out of this guy. I'm hoping to see at least that much, you know. The good thing about this guy, this opponent, right? Um, Yi Young Kim. I hope I'm saying his name remotely, at least in the ballpark. I'm just gonna say Kim. Um, he's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked out. He's lost a fight. He hasn't been stopped, TKO'd in any fight. Now I know his level of opposition and the men that he fought. I don't recognize any of them. Um, that could be kind of tricky. I mean, I think it all depends on Naoya Inoue. If this Kim dude comes out there and trying to talk shit to him and pisses him off, it could be a very short night for this man. If Naoya Inoue, feels like he's been training for a long time and he wanted to get a little bit of work in, and it's gonna really depend on what Naoya Inoue wants to do in this particular fight, in this particular situation. Either way, if he wants to get him out of there early, he'll get him out of there early. If he wants to play with his food for a little while before giving the fans their money's worth, he'll do as such. Naoya Inoue is going to control every aspect of this fight. He starts off very fast in fights. If you're in front of him more than 5 seconds, you haven't did anything, he's going to help you out with that. He's going to step to you and he's going to really start to figure out what you got for him. Real quickly, within the first 30 seconds of the first round, Naoya Inoue has already checked your boxing intelligence, see how you're if you're responding to any of it, and if you're doing the same thing more than once. Within the first 30 seconds of the fight, he's already taken down all that information on his fighter. He does that. He That's how he starts every fight. I've never seen him start a fight otherwise. He steps right to the person. He's not the type of guy that he needs like a feeling out process. You know, um, he'll his movements and the positioning that he's putting in front of him are getting reactions out of the fighter by themselves. At this point, his name alone will get you nervous. This guy will be gassed out. It didn't throw out one punch. Just the anxiety of standing in front of Naoya Inoue. He's gonna be drained. Oh my! What the like? He's that can just And then Where does this guy? How do if anything, the possibility of him winning? Where would it be that in any part of the fight would I can be comfortable and say, well, if he can survive out of round 4 or 5, then he has a chance. No, that's not the case. Naoya Inoue is dangerous all 12 rounds. This is a 12-round fight, definitely. He's dangerous all 12 rounds. His power carries all 12 rounds. Speed, stamina. I don't see this guy's angle. The only way you're gonna have to fight him. You're gonna have to fight him. That's it. Because you can't drag him out to deep water because he has a life raft. He's not gonna drown. Um, you can't try to like outspeed him because he's too fast, and you're not gonna meet him with power. No, you're just gonna have to fight him. You're gonna have to um what you would I guess, I mean, at this point with like 2 weeks of you know getting ready, punch when he punches and try to stifle his offense. Don't try to let him get into rhythm. Naoya Inoue bounces off the tips of his feet. He's not typically like per se a rhythm fighter, but he could be. He knows how to fight off rhythm, off instinct. He's just good in a lot of places. It's difficult in 2 weeks to come up with a plan to beat this guy, right? But if I had to tell him something, I would definitely punch when Naoya Inoue punch. See if you can land something, kid. See if you can get something in there. When you punch with him, Naoya Inoue, typically, if you take the step back, he takes a step forward because he's got it in his mindset that if you were the one that took a step back, then you were kind of like hurt or retreating. Like a samurai, no retreat, no surrender. He's going in, right? That's fake the step back, punch forward, punch, punch. If you collide, grab him. Naoya Inoue is a little bit like I think he learned this lesson with Luis Pantera Nari on the break. So I don't think he'll be foolish to catch him there. You could try him, right? Pushing him back is a lot easier said than done. But he doesn't, Naoya Inoue doesn't evade well coming out of the high guard, push back. When Luis Pantera Nari had him hurt in that first round, right? And if you go back, he did clinch him one time. But what he relied on was his waist evading ability to evade a punch. Rather than the punch being more of a hook, straighten it out like this little, and I think Lewis would have caught him big again on those ropes. He just didn't land it. Naoya's ability, his hands were down. I didn't like that. And I noticed that a lot of Japanese fighters have their hard time coming out of the high guard on the ropes. They're not really good popping in and out. They can be caught. A lot of Mexican fighters, like Filipino fighters, Filipino and Japan are rivals, right? That's rivalry right there. That's rich rivalry, boxing rivalry. And there's been a lot of countless Filipinos knocking out Japans and vice versa, Japanese fighters and stuff. But that's where I learned that fight. From a lot of Filipino fighters push these Japanese fighters back, and that's where they have their most success against them. But I'm not too sure that this Korean guy, um, with very little time to, I haven't even watched one of his fights. Let me be honest with you. I didn't. I started to. I got a little distracted. I was supposed to watch a couple of his fights, but I'm not going to sit here and lie about anything. I don't know his style of fighting. Let me wait. There was one interesting thing. Is he a righty or lefty? Orthodox fighter? What is he? He's orthodox fighter. Okay. Um, Actually, he's shorter than Naoya Inoue. Interesting. 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 Could this be a case of him fighting a shorter fight? Well, he fought Louis Nari. Was Louis Nari shorter than Naoya? Yeah, he was shorter than Naoya Inoue, right? Yeah. I never, yeah, he was shorter than Naoya. Okay. Uh, he fought a couple short guys. Nah, it's not going to be a case where a guy fights a guy shorter and struggles against the shorter guy. Nah. 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 Yeah, well, for the most part, I hope we see Naoya Inoue fight for a few rounds and Naoya, if you hear me, you could do it. Give us 4 or 5 rounds, 6 rounds, take him out. It would be nice to see you, and then like really shine on him, and showcase your skills and preparation for the announcement of you coming back to United States of America. You know, Not so much that you're coming, you're just coming back because you've already fought here, you know. So, but and who can that opponent be? And then there's a lot of people that are still throwing around Junto Nakatoni, right? And like I said, Top Rank and them, they weren't letting that shit go. And then you got that interview with Junto himself that said that he wanted to fight 2 more fights at 118. He was trying to unify some of the titles. In fact, fight Naoya Inoue's kid brother, Takuma, but he lost his belt and that fight and they're still talking maybe making that fight go on. Takuma could be right back in the mix. Who knows? He fights and gets his belt back. I don't know. But what I do know is that if you're sitting around thinking that Junto is gonna come up to 122, he already answered our question. He told us, "I'm fighting 2 more times at 118." So Junto's not gonna be his fight in the US. No, it's not going to be. And it was rumored that it was gonna be Picasso, that Picasso was gonna be the fight that he fought in the US. And then that was a smokescreen to Marlon Tapales. I mean, MJ Akmedalia. That was the David Picasso fight was just a smokescreen to give a big fu to MJ and his to because Bob Aaron wanted to announce like you guys are still not next in a sense. And I never believed that David Picasso was going to be Naoya Inoue's fight in America anyway. It didn't make dollars and cents to have him fight him. No, the options in United States for me anyway would have been to finally fight MJ in United States, because it's a name that at least is buzzing around in that division. So out of like the people are talking about, I would have went that way. Anything else from that would have been the announcement of moving up to 126 for United States. And it would have been trying to fight probably like um Nick Ball. I like that fight. A lot of people are like, they're like, oh no, Nick Ball's gonna beat Naoya Inoue. I'm like, really? I want to see that. Um, Angelo Leo is too big for Naoya. Really? I want to see that. I would like to see that. Show me. Show me that Angelo's that good. Angelo Leo got a fight scheduled now. He better hope that he walks out that ring with his belt and still there when Naoya Inoue train comes up, because a couple of these guys got a fight scheduled and it could be some new champions up there. So we're gonna see what happens in this situation. But as far as this Kim guy, as far as we're just ruling him completely out, I just want you to know a few more things about this guy, right? Okay, he's actually ranked in the WBO ranking. He's actually ranked 11. So he's not ranked by any other of the sanctioning bodies. He's just out of the 15 for I think like 2 more of the sanctioning bodies, and he's not even ranked in the other one. But he is ranked in the WBO number 11. So it's not like, he's not like hitting that ranking. So these guys are kind of tough to judge sometimes. You got to remember that Kim is like, yo, I'm getting my opportunity here too. Like he done alerted his entire family, the whole village where he from or wherever country out there in South Korea. They all know now. He's going in there to fight for 4 belts. He's getting a big opportunity because Sam Goodman's little punk ass, which I told you guys, right? Look, look, I don't care how many mistakes there are in this world, right? And what could happen or whatever, right? I'm telling you right now that right there, that's on Sam Goodman. And should Sam Goodman lose his place in line, because like I told you guys, Sam Goodman's going to find a way out of this fight, and all they're doing is trying to wait out Naoya Inoue from the division. Once Naoya Inoue leaves 122 pounds, everybody can breathe again. Sam Goodman is still undefeated, and then he's in line for the vacant belts. He feels at least if anybody he can beat, I'll fight anybody else for these belts but him. Once he leaves, these guys are like, oh shit, did he leave? Yeah, is he gone? Yeah, now I'm tough. And that's what Sam Goodman, I always felt he was doing. I never bought into the fact that Sam Goodman really wanted to fight Naoya Inoue. I never bought into that. But when they called him, announced him for an opponent, okay, an opponent. It just, like I said, I didn't think it was ever gonna happen. He was gonna find a way out. And that's how I viewed him. I was like, "He don't wanna fight him." But there's not a lot of fighters there left for him, so let's get this fight out of the way, and let's hope that Naoya Inoue stays on his feet in this fight, and that the Naoya Inoue train goes forward with no more hitches and full steam ahead. Because I'm telling you right now, the minute that he says, "I'm going to 126," the boxing world is gonna lose their mind. And also, Naoya Inoue's boxing purse is gonna increase. He's because he's right there. 126 is gonna be the new 130. He's gonna make it the new. It's just gonna be a he's gonna make it a glamour division overnight. That's where people will start to see you, because all the greats, the some of the best fighters in the world, like the greats, all started at 130. That's where they started. The Floyds, all of them. You go down the 130-pound weight division, it's tough to dominate that. As a legend, who's the best 130-pounder of all time? I'm gonna make some shows about that type shit. Yeah, that would be interesting. Who's the best 130 of all time? 135, like that. Wow, you got a lot of names to sort through. And I mean a lot of legendary boxers. Yes, you do. It's just a big division, So, but Naoya Inoue's right would be right there. He's gonna make it the new 130, bro. Mark my words. Mark my words. Oh, let me get over here and check this out. You would love to see Bam Rodriguez versus Naoya Inoue. That fight would be fireworks. Um, Nakatani beats Bam versus Joshua. Uh, those are a lot of big fights right there. You guys just threw out there. There's only one real David. What's up, Mark? That's if he doesn't move up. Well, Naoya Inoue, that rumor right there, Mark, right here. I just want to throw this up right here real quick because I want everybody to see this. Okay. First of all, right, Naoya Inoue does not attach himself with anything that says you strip me or I vacated or abandoned the belt because I had to fight a mandatory. That's one. He's never been a type of fighter that would attach his name to something like that. What tells you that he would ever consider just what Uncle Bob says? Oh, Naoya Inoue will vacate that belt before he fights you. No, that's him saying that. He doesn't speak for Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue is looking at Bob like, motherfucker, well said from somebody that never fought for a world title. You know what it's like just to just throw a belt away? No? Then shut up. Don't speak for me. I'm trying to tell the world that you'll just sacrifice my belt because you said so. Don't believe that shit, Mark. Naoya Inoue will never, and I repeat, never be that type of fighter. He's not Lomachenko. He's not Riddick Bowe. He doesn't throw belts in the trash because he's avoiding a guy. That's not him. And they try to attach these things to a man like that. Whatever ever in my life had ever hinted that anybody ever punked Naoya Inoue for anything. I bet you if you went to his house and there was a fucking gum wrapper on the table and you picked that up and put it in your pocket, he's gonna beat the shit out of you for that gum wrapper. Why? I don't give a fuck if it's a gum wrapper. Don't touch it. It's not yours. That's what kind of man he is. He's not. No, don't let it Bob Aaron. Man, listen, when I was looking at that, like, well said from a man that don't got no belts. You just talking out the side of your neck. Did you really check that up with Naoya Inoue? I bet not. I bet not. But I know what Bob's doing. His bluffs, his little, he's doing promotional shit. He says the craziest shit. Doesn't make it so. No, not to that kind of guy. Nah, he ain't vacating shit unless he vacates all four at the same time. It's not like he'll vacate one. He didn't go up there and to get all four to get scared. He's not freaking these dudes. No, man. He'll beat the shit out of MJ. Give MJ the satisfaction of saying, Naoya Inoue ducked me. He vacated the belt and now they upgraded me. What would that say about Nick? Man, yeah, right. Yeah, right. MJ, you're not that guy. You're not him. I wouldn't believe that if fucking, yeah, right. You don't even propose a threat, kid, let alone try to tell me that you're going to run him for his belt. Nail, yeah, in a way, man, I'm trying to tell you right now, man. Um, you know, if he chooses to stay at 122, the guys that are left there right now, he can beat on them for a little while. I don't see it being much longer than this, although this is only his fifth fight at the 122. And as we all saw in his last jump, he fought 7 times before making that transition, which means he was packing on the weight accordingly. He wasn't being rushed by the fans, and he wasn't making rash decisions. He was making boxing decisions. Naoya Inoue understands the responsibility of the fighter, that he's not going to allow you to dictate what he does next. Although he respects the fans and he takes what they had, their opinions into consideration, he also asks you to support him as he's making his rise through the divisions. That's what he's asking us to do. He's telling us he is moving on. He is thinking about another. Can he do it? He's also paying attention to his body and how his body is responding at the age of 31. He's entered his prime. These will be Naoya Inoue's prime career right here. This is where Naoya Inoue can truly stamp his name among the boxers, in which, and ironically, he has already solidified 3 Hall of Fame careers up to this point. You can legitimately get 3 men in the Hall of Fame with just what he has up to date, and we're asking more of the man. You mean to tell me that this is where he's going to become Naoya Inoue? No, he was already Naoya Inoue before he got here. And he's going to come here and he's just going to show the world what he's been doing this entire time. Many of these guys and throughout the divisions have been chasing him and have been noticing that he was the guy to beat. And many fighters like John Casamara, although, I have a lot to say about him, he's good for the sport, and I like John Casamara as a fighter. I also like MJ and Marlon Tapales, Stephen Kubo Fulton. Many of these men right here saw the significance of sharing the ring with a fighter such as Naoya Inoue, just like Nonito Donaire did. These are good names to have on your resume. Naoya Inoue fought Nonito Donaire, Hall of Famer Flash. And he has continued to fight multiple champions. John Casamara being a good fighter, he missed the Naoya Inoue sweepstakes. There was a point in time where John Casamara and Naoya Inoue were set to clash. I remember they were both champions. I think John at that time was coming off a title defense. He knocked out the guy. Naoya Inoue had knocked out his guy. And then that's when the corona epidemic blew up. In fact, yeah, it did. John Casamero was they were on course. Him and Naoya Inoue, they were on head-to-head collision, and everybody was talking the fight. I remember, if I'm thinking back that the last past few years, um, that's what was happening back then. And we never got the fight. And then John goes, we know what happened. He ended up losing his belt, falling back on some health issues, but he's back now. He's back in the ring. He's trying to put himself back in line. These are men that I've always asked the question of how their wild style would fare against such a slick style of the Japanese fighter in Naoya Inoue. We didn't get our answer for that one particular fight, but there's not many people Naoya Inoue passed by. He got the big guys out of the way fast and early. Stephen Kubo Fulton being one of the top guys, undisputed world champion, undefeated, doesn't know how to lose, never's been knocked out in his career. He was knocked down one time in his career, which I found it, but he's never been really knocked out. He knows how to get up and get back into the fight. His last fight, he was dropped, he was put on the ground, and he got up. And I feel that he secured the win in that fight, and he looked pretty good at 126 pounds. Scheduled to run it back with Brandon Figueroa, which that'll be a really interesting banger. And we're going to talk about that one too. And let's see how Stephen fares against him up there. Another world title fight for the young man. But when he fared up against Naoya Inoue shut Stephen Cool Fulton down. And when I mean he shut him down, the Philadelphia native U.S. fighter, for all his status of being undefeated, multiple belts, undisputed, unified, right? For all those accolades, he didn't win a single round. He didn't even come close to winning a round. For all that, and the guy was moving up to your weight division, the much smaller guy. He didn't fight anybody else at 122. The very first person he fought was the king of the division, the smaller guy moving up to the big guy. That must have felt like an insult, right? Oh, who the hell is this guy challenging me, little guy? And Naoya Inoue came in there, and not only did he outbox him, he outboxed him, but he beat him in his own game. Naoya Inoue literally got in the Philly show style and basically whooped Stephen Kubo Fulton in his own style, while toying with him before he brutally knocked him out in the 8th round. It was a masterclass performance, and it really set the way for Naoya Inoue, for the future of the division. And boy, was he right. As he was going out through the division, he just kept fighting unified world champions and number one contenders. And here we are. You got to pay attention to what he's doing. This is the third, and I repeat, third consecutive time he puts up all 4 of those belts. All 4 of the belts. The only person I could think about, well, not only no more, but Saul, Devin Haney defended all 4 belts once against Loma. Josh Taylor defended him against Jack Catterall. Um, uh, Saul defended all 4 belts. But there hasn't been a man that has consistently defended all 4 belts in a row like he's doing right now. And these guys only did it one time, and then that was it. I mean, that's a good thing to have on your resume. That on young Devin Haney to have that one title defense. I can't lie, that's big. But Naoya Inoue is coming on his 3rd. Although I don't think he'll ever go down in history as the champion to defend undisputed status because of different time eras. That's the only reason why. But as far as a four belt era, as far as a four belt era, I think he's going to be the first man to make that many title defenses on all four belts. In fact, but as a whole, um, it's really not fair because some of these men got credit for being the undisputed champion and having like 18, 20 undisputed champion title defenses, which but there was only one belt in that time. So you were undisputed because there was only one belt. And then there was the three belt era, right? Undisputed in the three belt era, Mike Tyson defended his undisputed reign titles a lot. But many would argue that Ali's reign was better. But Ali didn't have three belts. You understand? So is it a better reign like that? So at some point, we have to acknowledge these guys' era. We got to stop taking a guy from way back then and saying, well, he's not better than this guy. Well, there were different eras, there were different circumstances. For instance, Mike Tyson didn't need the WBO championship to be considered the undisputed champion of the world. He only needed three belts: the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF. That's all he needed in his era. Yeah. And Floyd Mayweather fought in both eras. He fought in a four belt era and he fought in a three belt era. So his career was on the line because you can actually hold up Mayweather's standard to a Naoya Inoue because you did technically fight in a four belt era. So you had a chance to accumulate them. It was up to you to do it. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your career. You got to do it. But if we're being technical, he did. He fought in both eras, Mayweather. Yeah. And when you hold up Naoya Inoue, you can only hold him up in a four belt era. He came into boxing, right? Just under, right? When Naoya Inoue started his career, what was it? All right. He came right under the. So 2012, wait a minute. Naoya Inoue might have fought in both eras. Naoya Inoue might have fought in both eras. And not for a long time, though. He had 2 years in a three belt era. He started his career in 2012. Well, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He had 1 year. He had 1 year and 2 months or some shit like that. Maybe even less. We would have to look at that Bernard Hopkins date. It was what was it? I know this. I know this shit. The date and everything. I know all this shit. I be forgetting shit sometimes. Um, it would have been that's 10, 10 2, 10 2. That's the beginning of the month. I don't know, about like a year. He would have just been under the year. Yeah, I can't hold him to the three belt era with that. Not really. Nah, nah. Because the four belt era started in 2014, right? Right? That's when the four belt era started. Let me see if I'm having a brain for it here. Let me type in. I want to check them out. Now I gotta start doing boxing trivia on myself. I have to. I have to because you gotta find out this shit, man. There we go. All right. So it would have been Oscar De La Hoya versus Bernard Hopkins, right? Um, what was the date? Oscar De La Hoya's record was 39-30 with 6 losses, and he got stopped 2 times. He had 308 rounds. He's 51 right now, 5'11 with a 73-inch arm reach. American fighter, Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya fought him late. I would have to go way down here then. Julio Cesar Chavez. That was a good fight. Shane Mosley. Fernando Vargas. Shane Mosley again. Felix. Bernard Hopkins. Oh, no way. Wait a minute. Wait a 2004. Damn, I'm off. I got a lot of boxing in my head right now. Shit. Okay, now it's starting to come back. He fought him on August 18, 2004. 2004. Naoya Inoue didn't fight in the 3 belt era. Nah, in 2004, the WBO became official on that date. That's kind of like where we all like rough draft, like it never really was like an awarded ceremony or anything. I don't know if like the gods, but in that fight is when it was honored. It was viewed as a title. So that's kind of like where, um, I guess the Hall of Fame of them kind of like deemed it, because the further you go back, the more you would have to alter the record books. You would have, if you give one guy recognition for that belt or the status in that time, you would have to do it for everyone to make it fair. So 2004 is the year the WBO became official and we entered a 4 belt era. It's 2004. Yeah, so Naoya Inoue didn't fight in the 3 belt era. Because I remember him fighting on HBO. I was like, is it a possibility? I was like, I must be going crazy, right? Hell no. Nah, he didn't. So yeah. So those are interesting facts. And these are some of the things we talk about these men and we hold them to their era. What did you do in your era? Forget about it. Hey, if Mike needed to get 3 belts, then that's what the hell he needed to get. Did he go get them? Yes. Then that's what the hell you did. This is your time. We might be in a time at some point where that the European title becomes official. That IBO European shit. I don't know if we'll ever enter a 5 belt era, but who knows? This is where we're at now in a 4. So, yeah. Nah, just to like break down, like these are real, like, Naoya Inoue, bro. He's doing some really fucking cool shit here, man, in boxing. And as you can see, when we talk about like fighters like Oscar De La Hoya, right? Oscar De La Hoya has 6 weight divisions, bro. He only has 39 fights. 39 fights, 30 knockouts. He ended his career. And he has 6 weight divisions, bro. He put in work, man. He put in work. He had a good height to himself, though, at 5'11. He had a real good height to himself. But he's a 6th division world champion, and you can't take that away from him. And that's what I mean. When you look at these guys' resumes, look at the names on their resume, man. It's impressive when you can share the ring with those kind of professional fighters in your time, and you can honestly say, I fought that guy. Win, lose, or draw, I fought him. And even in a loss, the men that shared the ring with Floyd Mayweather, even the guys in the earliest career. Hey, let me sit down. Let me tell you about the time I fought Floyd. You fought Floyd. Yep, I fought him. Here it is. I got knocked out, but I fought him. Oh shit, tell me about it. Bro, you shared the ring with Floyd Mayweather? Really? that's got to be kind of cool. And if Floyd is not your guy, just picture your favorite fighter and imagine sharing the ring with him. So I think that we need to get back to an era where that is more important. It's about the level of who you fought, not about being scared to be undefeated or I retired or I get it. Yeah, it was cool for a little while, but let's get serious with boxing. And like my man Lionheart was saying, Carlos was saying, my panel, they were talking about. They were like, "Is it so bad for us to want to see these guys fight the best, fighting the best? Is that so much to ask for in a sport that's exactly what you do?" It's time to hold some of these fighters accountable for the claims that they're making. I'm the best. I want to fight the best. Did you guys see these little theatrics by Tio on the side of the curb with the sign? Anything helps. I think that's brilliant, by the way. You know, down yourself, so that they can give it all to you and a little bit of distraction. Give them something else to talk about and then dust yourself off and learn from this. Don't mess up, because fighters like you and Ryan, a lot of people are sick of your bullshit. So, you know, uh, play nice, but at least fight somebody. At least fight somebody. And Teal's being one of those fighters that are highly criticized that not putting the fight together. But here we got Naoya Inoue, all 5'5" of him, taking on these fights, putting all four. Now, listen, let me tell you people something right now. Okay. Do you really believe that Naoya Inoue has to give this guy an opportunity at all four of his belts right now? No. And I want you to think about that. Naoya Inoue could say right now, this is a non-title fight. When's the last time you heard that? When's the last time you seen a champion go into a fight, the champion, and say, this is a non-title fight? This is a situation it would happen in. He doesn't have to put his belts up to this dude. He could say no. You know why? Deservingly, the guy never. He's he's just a late replacement. Naoya Inoue had to say the titles were on the line. He had to have said, no, these are for all four belts. You see what I'm saying? So that's you got to take some of these things into consideration that my man is willing to give these other fighters. When you're talking about a fighter yelling back, being like on a real Rocky movie, yo, give me an opportunity, fight me. You know what I'm saying? Like here it is. And who was it that won the lottery? Freaking Kim here. So Naoya Inoue, he's putting up a lot, man. He's daring to be great, bro. Right here, like not daring to be great in the aspect of the competition. No, not that way. But daring to be great as in the sense of he's taking the fight with very little information, kind of walking into the dark, saying, "Fuck it, whatever jumps out of the fucking woods, I'll fight it." In its own way, it's daring to be great. You can give a rarely known, just ex Jaime Munguia, a rarely known boxer an opportunity, and he can hit a grand slam on your chin. Can't he, Jaime? Huh? Just ex Bruno. So you're given an opportunity. I mean, whatever percentage chance you give this guy, well, then at least he has that in your mind. I mean, if you give him no chance, I mean, if he stops Naoya in a way, the world might not make sense for you the next day. You know, everything that is real won't the world won't make sense anymore, right? So you kind of got to give the guy a little something that way it keeps you from being completely like leveled, like just shocked, right? You gotta have that, let that little bit of, so you'd be like, right? At least I do anyway, right? But I think that Naoya Inoue is a very smart fighter when it comes to fighters not typically making, the same mistake. Luis Pantera Nari found that out. If you hit him with that shot, that was great. That was awesome. You just figure out how to hit him again because you're not going to hit him with that same punch again. Once you hit him with that shot, you're not probably going to hit him with that same shot again. So you got to figure out different ways to hurt him. And if you do happen to get him hurt, I believe that your best chances is not to let your foot off the gas. That would be my best advice. But I want to see him back in the ring, and I'm so glad that he's gonna fight. I can't wait to see him. We're a couple weeks out. Um, I'm confident, for as little as I know about this Kim dude, I think he's gonna show up more than Sam Goodman would have. I don't think he could fight better than Sam Goodman. No, I'm not sure about that. As opponent wise, quiet as kept, I think Sam Goodman probably would have been the best guy up there. Even though I'm upset with his antics and everything, I still think that Sam Goodman, yeah, was the best one for competition wise. I don't think that this guy's even on the level of Sam Goodman, but he has bigger balls than Sam Goodman, and I think that this Kim dude is actually going to show up to the fight, something that Sam Goodman obviously can't do. And if we were being honest with ourselves, this is actually the third time Sam Goodman pulled out of this fight. If we're being 100% honest with ourselves, he pulled out of this fight 3 consecutive times. Why do I say that? Well, let's count them. When he jumped in the ring in Tokyo, Japan, he announced he was going to fight Naoya Inoue. He pulled out a fight and took a tune-up fight, didn't he? He didn't have to take that tune-up fight that he had already scheduled. He could have just went right to the Naoya Inoue fight, the biggest fight, and there would have been no problem. He chose not to take the Naoya Inoue fight and keep going on with that fight. He pulled out of the Naoya Inoue fight, won. Then he gets the fight, and he gets his eye cut. They give him a 30-day extension. That's 2. And then this one right here, he gets another eye cut. That's 3. He pulled out of that fight 3 consecutive times, if we're being honest. I don't think he deserves a fight with Naoya Inoue. Even if he was to fix his eye, just from a promotional management business, you don't seem like good business. You feel me? And I don't think I would have did business um with him, with Sam Goodman's team. I don't know if he deserves it. Another shot at Naoya Inoue like that. No. So well, well, to tell you the truth, right? Well, I don't think that MJ was gonna take the fight, or Picasso. And ironically enough, they just came off of a fight. I thought that MJ scaped out of his last victory, very with very little damage at all from that guy. He was dominating the fight. He took a couple punches, but nothing that you can't chalk up to a good 2-3 days of fucking sparring in the gym, you know. And the fact that he was in shape. He was in shape. He's coming off a victory, MJ. And um David Picasso, right? They're both coming off, their fights, right? So either of those guys are coming off training camps plus 1 month and then this date. I think he could have made the fight, to be honest. But if we were keeping it like 100 competitive, would you rather hear excuses after the fight why MJ lost, or would you rather give MJ a full training camp or Danny Picasso a full training camp and then say, you fought me on the up and up, not on like a month notice or anything, but now you have a way out. So that's why they probably didn't take any of them. So they took the Korean fighter, which the Korean fighter, in fact, was on the card. He was already fighting. He already had a fight scheduled. He had a dude. So the Korean dude has a full training camp. This Kim dude. So he's ready for the fight. He was going to fight on that day. So I think that logically he was probably the best available guy that was ready, rather than you getting the confirmation for, yeah, I was in the gym training. Yup, I'll take the night. He just wants a payday. He's not going to really get in there and perform well. He's not going to give you that fight. They took this guy because he was ready, and it was probably the best, because knowing Naoya Inoue himself, the man himself, he doesn't want no easy fight. He don't want no tune-up fight. He wants to fight the best. So I'm pretty sure they went down the list of looking for the best possible opponent. And there was no real proof probably that these guys are ready, you know? So, and that can pass and make weight. You can make the weight, so 2 weeks notice, a lot of these guys might have not made the weight for whatever reason, but MJ, you can say he could have made this fight. If he really wanted to, he could have made this fight. Yes. Yes, he could have. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with MJ. He's just coming off a training camp. He could have went right back in it. His body would have picked up. He had more than a month's time. Yeah. MJ could have made that fight. Hell yeah. The first time he got his eye cut, I would have cut Sam out the card and put MJ. Yeah, and gave MJ the month. Yeah. But I guess they didn't want it that way. So now we'll see what happens. Naoya Inoue should not fight Goodman. He should fight another man. He's not fighting Goodman anymore. He's fighting this other dude because Sam Goodman he just doesn't want to fight Naoya Inoue, and that's just the bottom line. That's just the bottom line. So yeah, I'm glad that we have this fight now in Naoya Inoue. I'm glad that we're about to watch Naoya Inoue into the ring. I can't wait to see this man into the ring. I can't wait to see another great knockout. When's the last knockout that I got to see? What was it? Anthony Joshua getting knocked out? I think it was my last knockout. Help me out with this. Who got knocked out? Um Jaime Munguia, right? Yeah, Jaime Munguia is my last man. I'm jonesing for a knockout. I need a knockout here, you know? And here comes our guy. You know what I mean? Here comes Naoya Inoue. He's coming through. So I can't honestly break down this fight and tell you the when and the where. What I can tell you is that there's gonna be a knockout in this fight. I can almost guarantee you in this fight, someone's going to sleep in this Naoya Inoue fight. Um, and I would like to see the announcement and where he goes from here. If he is successful in this fight, as a fight fan, what would be the next fight? Not a fantasy island fight, but a real deal possibility fight. Don't bring Junto up. Junto, it's not gonna happen, guys. I already told you about Junto Nakatoni. He's gonna fight 2 more times at 118 out of his own mouth. He's already made the announcement. He wants to fight 2 more times at 118. So that's at least a calendar year or close to it to get those 2 fights out of the way for Junto. And we're talking about Naoya Inoue's next fight being possibly, which I'm under the impression it's gonna be in the United States. Who's the guy you wanna see him fight? And where? And where? He's ranked number 11th. Yeah, we established that by the WBO. He's ranked number 11 by the WBO. The guy that Naoya Inoue is fighting. Yeah. Let me look at it again. I'll look it up to make sure. Yeah, there he is, number 11. He's just under Roman. That's number 10. He's under the top 10. The guy that Naoya Inoue is fighting. I've already put him up. I put his chart up. I put up his whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. You think the fight with MJ in May, and that would be in the US? That's what you think? Now, this right here is what most of us are being told. This fight right here. Because that's the one that Bob Arum and Top Rank released, saying that that would be the opponent in Las Vegas, right? Okay. But like I telling you guys that I think that was just Bob's way of giving MJ's team a big FU by announcing the other opponent and not being your guy's name. Is basically telling you we're not still doing business with you even after this fight, because we're even announcing our next guy. But boxing doesn't work that way, and I know that. I know that sometimes these promoters can get in a real pissing contest with each other, and it seems like MJ and Top Rank's promoter company, both of them, they're not getting along and they're not playing nice. So for whatever reason, they don't want to do business with MJ's management and promotional team, Top Rank, Naoya Inoue's team. Now, as far as it goes, Naoya Inoue, he doesn't care who you get. See, a lot of the fans are getting confused with the promotional pissing match that they're having, and it's spilling out into the fighters. And Naoya Inoue somehow seems to be getting held responsible for what? Because the promotional companies are not getting along, so now he's ducking MJ? That's absurd. That's absurd. No, your promotional companies, my promotional company are not getting along. How does that spell me ducking you? It doesn't. Naoya Inoue will fight any of that. That's the problem. You can't take that situation and pin it on the fighters. That's not that kind of situation. See? Because there's no way on God's green earth you're going to convince me that Naoya Inoue is scared to the guy he knocked out beat him. He beat up the guy that beat you up. Why would he be scared of you? So that's absurd. That's absurd to think. Why would Naoya Inoue be ducking or even like MJ when he beat the guy that beat you up? He actually did you a favor. But you want to dress it and paint it like the tougher guy's scared? Well, that's what promotional companies do. And that's the perception they want to give you, that there's just a remote chance that Naoya Inoue is ducking MJ. When in fact, in like the real world, there is 0.0.0 chance Naoya Inoue is ducking MJ. There's not is it's not even feasible in my mind. As fighters anyway. Promotional companies, them getting the now that's a different story. I don't know why they're not getting along or what's going on, but it's obvious they don't like MJ's team. They don't want to give him the fight. I don't know why. They just don't want to give him the payday. It's and I know, and I've heard a lot of stories about MJ's promotional and manage. He doesn't have a really good name in the sport of boxing, but what promoter does, right? So he's right up their alley. He's just a shark, just like them. He's a little cocky and arrogant, but and I can see where Bob Arum and them would get pissed off at a guy like that, right? But they work with him. They have many times in different other things, but in this particular event, I guess I'm not sure. Not sure. But far as fighters, don't get it fucked up, bro. Don't ever buy into that bullshit narrative that Naoya Inoue is ducking anyone. And I mean anyone. Because you have to be honest with yourself. Do you truly, truly, in your hearts of hearts, think there's anyone at 122 that has a possibility of beating him? Or, well, of the men that are left standing so far who he hasn't killed yet? Because everybody else, he's bodied the entire division so far. All the top guys in the division, he's bodied. These are the guys that weren't good enough to hold on to their belt that are trying to make noise. Just remember that. They weren't good enough to keep their belt. They weren't good enough to stay in winning to be able to fight them. Their whole ploy is don't look at that I wasn't good enough. Just give me the opportunity because I'm saying I'm good enough. They're just talking it up. You should be able to see right through that. The way this guy's doing it, he's just straight up. You got a belt? I want you. You're next. How about you? You. He's just going down the line, bro. So that's why I don't believe anything any of these guys are saying. Because you can tell when the dude that, bro, you're not even good enough to be up here on the platform. You want to talk your way up here. But you don't want to fight anybody to get here. Who was that last dude MJ just fought? Who was that guy? What did Ed Hearn say? He's tailor made. Tailor made. When the promoter says that the guy is tailor made for you, bro, matchmaking is a real thing. Matchmaker knows what fighter would make your fighter shine and what style is the best favorable for your fighter. That's a matchmaker's job, to build exciting fights. And if a matchmaker comes back to your promotional company and says, I found him. You found him? Yeah. Right up his alley. That means you're setting your guy up to give an impressive knockout. Is that not what that means? Yes or no? So you want me to believe a guy that you were, I mean, you're Ed Hearn said it out of his own mouth. Tailor made for you. You fighting tailor made guys, while this guy is fighting everybody. But he's the one that's scared. You see, just watch out, guys. Just don't buy into the bullshit. Please don't. Naoya Inoue ain't scared of none of these dudes. And I repeat that. Um, if we were to break down the situation, technically he's supposed to be fighting another couple more fights at 122. If the biggest jump he made was in 7 fights, this is only 5. The Vegas fight marked 6. And he would need one more even after that. So the likelihood that he stays at 122, he's if he was on course, well, he's not even to the doorstep of where he should be making it. He's still in my head, he still has 2 more fights to go. So if he was on course, he should be staying technically at 122, Naoya Inoue. He should be. My hopes is that, whenever you do something once in life, the second time you do it that much faster. If it took him 7 fights the first time, could he do it in 5? The next jump. You understand? So I was kind of like waiting for that, but maybe he might just like fight the full 7 fights there. You get the full 7 fights there and then move up. And then that's when shit's gonna get crazy. And then depending on who's still the champion up there, could and another important thing, let's pay attention to the 126 for a second, right? Because if there's any unifications at 126, and say these champions start fighting each other and they start to accumulate the belts, you got to kind of watch out for that because what can end up happening is Naoya Inoue can slide up to 126 and fight one guy for 3 belts. And you basically made his journey that much easier. He would only be 1 belt away from doing 3 divisions. So pay attention to the strongest one up there. And if any of them dare to fight each other, to unify and then see, because if he fights 2 more times, that's going to be within a year. Naoya Inoue, you guys know he's fighting 3 times a year, bro. Like fucking clockwork. You could count on it, right? So it would still be at the end closing ending of 2025, he would be entering um 126. It would be his third fight. This is technically now his first, or should have been closing in December, and we should have been seeing him. So this is going to alter his fighting schedule a little bit, but he'll bounce back. He'll bounce back, Naoya Inoue, definitely 100%. So yeah, absolutely. Just trying to figure this out, and I want to pay attention to what's going on in front of me as well to see what happens. And you go ahead and grab those belts, and then there's just one guy in front of him. You can be lining them right up. Yeah. So that's just interesting right there. I don't know what the champions Espinoza now. I mean, off this controversial win over Robersi, a lot of people have a lot of mixed feelings in their fight. And where the 126 future holds. So yeah, man, it's a lot of good things in boxing. Interesting ways you can view this shit, man. Ed Hearns, you think he has 2 fights at 122 left? I think he has 2 fights at 122 and be done. Yeah, yeah, that's the realistic, like that's where my mind is right now because where I'm getting my measuring stick from and where I'm judging him was the breakdown that I'm saying that when he jumped a weight division, you know, these were the amount of fights that he did. He successfully defended his title 7 times. Once he defended it 7 times, he moved on to the next one. And like that. Um, the jump from 118 to 122. The jump from 118 to 122. Let me see. I remember what it was. Uh okay. He fought fucking bitch. All right. His first fight was, I remember, Jamie McDonald at 118, right? He jumped up and he bypassed a weight division. He came up from the 115, right? No. No, 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 no. Yeah, he was 115, 115 pounds. He jumped up from the 115 to the 118. He jumped up from the 108 to the 115. That's where he jumped up one division, right? His first fight was Jamie McDonald at 118, right? Okay. Um he fought He fought. Let me look this shit up. He fought 10 fights at 118. He fought 10 fights at 118. He fought 7 before he made the move. And before he went to one from 118 to 122, he fought 10 times at 118. Then he moved up to 122. He's only fought 5 times in 122. He's not moving up after this fight. Fuck. He's not moving up after this fight. There's no way he does it. He's gonna have to fight at least 2 more times. He's not stupid, bro. He's a very smart fighter. Very, very. Their team is pretty smart. 9 fights. He fought 9. I'm sorry, he fought 9. I just got on the page and I just counted them. He fought right here. It's all right here. Jermaine McDonald's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He fought 9 fights, not 10. He fought 9. Maybe I miscounted one in my head, right? Um, yeah, so on average, yeah, he's not jumping up. Fuck. He's gonna have to fight freaking MJ, man, or Picasso. He's gonna fight MJ or Picasso. The only other freaking fighter in the 122, there's nobody there, bro. I don't feel there's nobody there. I don't, yo, hey, it is what it is. Sam Goodman, you're out of here. You're garbage. Get him the fuck out of here in the rankings, right? Kyle, James Martin, Dennis McCann. Nah, no, 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 no. And the ranking for the WBC is David Picasso, Marlon Tapales, Luis Pantera Nari, and Sam Goodman. Those 3 guys, you got to get them the fuck out of here. Jose Ismael Ramirez. No, tampoco. Um, there's he beat them all. Um, Price. Nope. Nope. Neither of the prices, neither. Nope. Some of these Japanese guys, though, coming up too. These guys at the bottom, like at the very bottom of the list, if you see it, they, I don't know what list you guys are looking at, right? But I'm looking at the top 15, right? And if you were looking at it from the top 15, from the fighters that are coming up from like 11 down, from 11 down, there's a lot of names there that are the Japanese fighters. Some of these guys are undefeated. I'm not sure if they would be ready for a fight of Naoya anyway, but I'm trying to think of his next 2 fights. The only next 2 fights is what this guy said over here, and it's what's probably I've been saying is going to be MJ and that Picasso guy that'll close out the 2000 and the 122 pound for Naoya Inoue. Those 2 guys, that's it, and there's just no more to do. There's no more to do right now. I'm forcing it right now on my opinion because when I start to do like my assessment on how I view his making it, he's not gonna do it in 5 fights, bro. He's just not gonna do it. So, okay, now I'm like 100% like out of the possibility that he's announcing that he's going up to 126 after this fight. That's like out of the window now for me. Yeah, I had a hope, a small gleam of hope that he would do it. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's ready. His body's not ready. That's the problem. I think he's ready. He's ready. Yeah, as a fighter, I think he'll fight anybody. I just don't think that his body's in the right position where that he's put on enough weight, worked in that weight, feels good in that weight, and it's comfortable to moving on to the next weight. I don't think he's there in that place as a fighter. That's where I don't think he's at. You see what I'm saying? Like that. You see how they try to push the narrative too, and they already made like Akmadalia MJ the interim champion to his WBA championship for Naoya Inoue. And that, in a way, is trying to get the WBA organization to put pressure to the Japanese guy to encourage him to take the fight. You know, even when Ed Hearn was sitting up there lying in bits and pieces, he did tell the truth, even when he was lying, right? Because if you could read through Ed Hearn's bullshit, right, you would have saw that Ed Hearn said Naoya Inoue had MJ as like an option fight. And Ed Hearn admitted to him. He admitted to it. He said, I didn't think he was going to pick him, because it was just an option fight, but he should have. He should have, he said, like that. And then in that next sentence, all of a sudden now he's ducking him. And he told you the truth in the option and and how it was laid out, that he was not the next man in line, but he could have took the fight if he wanted to. He didn't have to. Naoya Inoue. And then in the next sentence, he says Naoya Inoue's a duck. So he'll tell you the truth. You just got to sort it out through his bullshit, Ed Hearn. So if you call him out on something, he got receipts. He can rewind it and say, didn't I say right here was an option? So how did I lie? Ed Hearn can challenge you on that. Because although he's lying in the interview, he'll throw in the truth so that he can rewind it and say, well, then tell me where I lied. I told you right there in the interview that it was a fucking option right there. I'm calling him a duck because I got the right to. And there would be nothing else you could say to him, because you're probably would be saying, Ed Hearn, you're lying about this, that. He knew he was lying, but he's being smarter with, they're prepping him better how to talk on interviews and how to slither your way out, because if you peel Ed Hearn's fucking head back, it's just gonna be a reptile underneath that, you know. They snakes, bro. They real snakes. But if I was a boxer, truthfully, I would sign with some of those kind of top promoters. You don't want a fucking honest Joe going to bat for you in a room full of snakes. You don't send some honest fucking guy in there with these dudes. No, you send in another snake. You don't throw a guppy in a fucking shark tank. You put another shark in a shark tank, right? All right. I don't want none of them motherfucking good guys. You're fucking, the only thing is that they turn on you. They fight real good for the money and everything else against the other promoter, but then their fucking hearts are as black as, now they don't want to release the bag. You got to pry it out of their hands. Yeah, some of these promoters are funny like that. But yeah, fight fans, man. What's up, Mark? What was you saying? There are no one else at 122 pounds to beat up, really. MJ and are the just, yeah, punching bags, yeah, for the monster. John, you know it, brother. You know there's no one there, but could I be mad or upset at a fighter such as Naoya Inoue because he's doing the right thing? Although, as a fan, I'm frustrated. But let's just think about what this is actually saying louder than any words in the sport of boxing. Let's break down the situation. Okay. Isn't one of the most common phrases you hear nowadays in boxing is, I want to see the best fighting the best, right? Naoya Inoue kicked open the door in the 122-pound, and he did exactly that. He fought the best after the best. And what happened was he beat all the top guys so fast that there's no one left. This is what happens. When a real division, you're like, I want to see the best fighting the best. If you keep getting those fights one after another, you're gonna realize there was only 2 of those fights per division, maybe. Not every weight division has all those kind of superstars. And when what you're gonna end up is the exact same place Naoya Inoue finds himself today. There is no more best fighters in his division. He beat them all. When you as the fan kept telling him, "No, you think you're tough? Fight the next champion. No, then fight this guy. No, then fight the number 1 guy. No, then fight the other." No. Now there's no one left. There's no one left to give us that excitement. And the last remaining of the guys seem to all be so chicken shit, but yet saying, like, look at me over here, I'm tough, I'll fight you. Look at Sam Goodman, look at MJ, all yelling, wanting the smoke. Are any of them fighting him? Didn't MJ have opportunities to fight Naoya Inoue? How many times you think? Several times already. Why hasn't he fight him? Fighters like Casamera, why are you not fighting Naoya Inoue? Oh, you didn't hold on to your belt. I see why. And now we're here. There's no one left. Fans, I want to see the best fighting the best. There you go. There you go. You guys happy? You guys happy with Sam Goodman? You guys happy with Kim? Because we could be getting Marlon Tapales right now. Or Stephen Kubo Fulton fight right now. 5 fights into the division is where we should have been getting Stephen Kubo Fulton. Had he walked into the division backwards, play out all Naoya Inoue's fights backwards. TJ Doheny walking into the division. Next tough fight with Luis Ponte. No. Right. TJ Doheny. Who were the last 3? Oh, you would have to count this fight right here. He would be walking into the division fighting Kim or Sam Goodman, knocking them out, right? Then TJ Doheny, then Luis Pantera Nari, right? Then he would be going on his first title to grab the titles against Marlon Tapales. And then he would be unifying against Stephen Kubo Fulton in an ultimate American clash down versus Japan and Las Vegas. He could have been fighting Stephen Kubo Fulton. And all that hype and everything, we would have been building it up right now. Instead, he went backwards and fought the best, wiped them all out. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys is like, yeah, I want to see the best fighting the best, and the next fight you should fight the best fighter in there, and you should fight the best fighter after that. And I'm like, really? Where are you getting all these best fighters at? Where are they coming from? Every weight division got 10 Shakur Stevensons, 10 Javante Tank Davises. They got 10 freaking in every division. Like you can find 10 Javantes. No, you're not. So now that I'm looking at it as a human standard and what's really going on, and I don't really got anything to be upset about, because if I had anything to be upset about, the one thing I would be mad about is that he's doing it too good. So my only argument would be that he's doing it too good. Naoya Inoue, he's too good at his job. Yeah, in fact, that's my only thing I have against him. That he's in fact too good. Yeah. Because now I don't really got nothing to watch. Right? I want to see him fight Stephen Kubo Fulton right about now. Right about now, I'll take that fight. Hell yeah. Rather than Kim. So that's what I mean. But you guys are right. I think I'm right. I think that if we sit back and we really look at this situation with Naoya Inoue, guys, I don't think he's going up to 126, unfortunately. No, not after this fight. I think these guys are right. I think 2 more fights or so, right around roughly around there. Yeah, so expect to see the Vegas fight at 122. Who he get they get him to fight, time will tell. You know what I mean? Let me read up some of your messages just before I cut this one short here. Naoya Inoue will fight 3 times this year, according to the what? Ogashi. January fight will be this guy, right? The you're talking about you're just calling him the South Korean? Yeah. Okay. Because I see you keep saying Korean. So that yeah, it's got to be him, right? So the so you think that that sounds about right. That sounds about right here. This is about right here. This is it right here. He will fight 3 times according to Oscar. Yeah, yeah. It would be the Kim dude, which is the South Korean, and then the mandatory, which would have been Alan Picasso, right? And then the American would later, okay, at Riyadh season against MJ. That's more likely probably what's gonna happen. That's probably correct right there. If I had to say that's the most logical scenario out of them all. That's the best thing right there. What he just said right there is that's that's how I see it playing out. Exactly how I see it playing out right there. Now, any of those guys can come in different orders, but I think it would be these 3 fighters. And Kim, obviously, the Korean's going to be correct off the rip. The other 2 guys can alter, but it's more or less is going to be Picasso and MJ. Yes, 100%. That's how I see it playing out. Yeah. No, he doesn't. He won't. He's not gonna. He will have to vacate the WWF to face Picasso. There will be no vacating. There will be no vacating of no belt. We've already talked about this. You must be coming into my video late. Because well said from Bob Arum, a man that never fought for a world championship, to claim that his fighter has no problem vacating a belt, such as Naoya Inoue, and that he goes down in the record books as a man that vacated a belt to another man that was upgraded because you didn't want to fight him. You will never, and I repeat, never attach that to Naoya Inoue's name. And good luck with Bob Arum on trying to talk Naoya Inoue into just vacate a WBA world title. That will never happen. He will never give that kind of man the satisfaction of saying, I just gave you my belt because I chose not to fight you. Why would Naoya Inoue go up there to get all 4 belts to start vacating belts to guys he's avoiding? That makes no sense. Don't listen to anything that Bob Arum. I know he's a crazy promoter and he'll try to bluff his way through, but he's playing with Naoya Inoue's belts. And when it comes to them, that's where I don't buy his bullshit. I know as far as he can go, the crazy outlandish claims that a promoter will make. Yeah, I'm with you all the way there. I can see bullshit. But if I was on the other side and I really knew Naoya Inoue as a fighter, that would be the one thing you couldn't convince me on. You couldn't convince me in a million years that he would actually vacate that WBA to fight Danny. No, I don't believe that, not for a second, not for 2 seconds, not no, and there's no universe that I believe Naoya Inoue would vacate a belt to another guy, and let it be written in history that that's how that went down. His name's not Lomachenko, Razor, Riddick Bull, all them dudes that vacated belt. He's not those kind of guys. He ain't going down in history for vacating his belt to Devin Haney. Loma. That's where I said, "Up, Bob, all your bullshit you was talking, yeah, I was with you. I was like, yeah, that's good bullshit. Good. Oh, Naoya Inoue will vacate the belt to fight, but Get the fuck. I was like, yeah, right. I was like, you lost me there, bro. And I was just like, all right, Bob. Yeah, okay, Bob. Yeah, right. Like, did you check with Naoya Inoue on that one? I bet you didn't. Fuck out of here. I was like, yeah, right. I don't believe that shit for a second. Nah, hell no. Yeah. No, 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 no. Okay, okay, guys. Okay, guys. Sometimes you got to sort through the lies and boxing. They're little white lies. That's what they consider them. Okay, what you're saying here, Mark, is true. I'm just gonna sort it out for you. Okay, this is how the bullshit rolls in boxing. Sometimes it's complicated with the belts, right? But I'm gonna figure it out with you, right? Okay, all right. Picasso becomes the IBF and WBC number one ranked opponent, right, to Naoya Inoue's belts, which are, in fact, are true. Okay, all right. What happens is the sanctioning bodies can order the fight. The IBF can order Naoya Inoue to fight Picasso, but only by ordering the fight, he can't be stripped. When you order a fight, you can't strip the champion. The only way you can strip a champion is when it's set a mandatory and you deny the mandatory. Now, the sanctioning body wants to hear your excuse. Did you break a hand? You got to provide proof because now this is a mandatory. The trick behind the mandatories that although the promoter themselves will call it a mandatory, you got to watch out for that because the sanctioning body is not acknowledging their spot in line as a mandatory. They have the right to say it. The promoter can say, no, MJ is Naoya Inoue's mandatory. That's not necessarily true. He has four mandatories for four belts. Naoya Inoue doesn't just own one belt or two belts. So when this rare opportunity happens in boxing, they've divided this a long time ago, a system where the next organization in line. And although all of you are telling the truth, you do all have mandatory claims to his belts. And none of you are actually lying. Picasso is his mandatory. And he is ranked in two of the belts now. Yes. But what the only thing in this situation that counts is the order. Who's next? And that's where you got to pay attention. So if the WBA wasn't next in line, Sam Goodman was ranked for two, the IBF and the WBO. The actual people in line, the next in line was the IBF. The way, if you look up the way it's laid out in Naoya Inoue, the way he picked up the belts and the line that the order it's supposed to go in, you see, he opted to take Luis Pantera Nari first as the number one for the WBC. He didn't have to fight Luis Pantera Nari at that time. No one officially was pushing to fight Naoya Inoue. So he chose to get one of the mandatory slots out of the way, and he took Luis Pantera Nari because he had the number one spot. So he figured, okay, I'll take that. I'll fight him. But by doing so, it didn't move the order in Naoya's line. He just chose to fight him first. Do you understand? But when the sanctioning body want to push their guy, they were still a line. Now, you can jump the line at any time if one of the sanctioning bodies mandatory ain't causing a fuss. He ain't putting in no paperwork. He's allowing you to skip by him, and he's cool with it. And I'll wait my turn right here. Boop, boop, boop. You go get beat up. I'll get a little bit better. And now, because I'm still in line. You understand? So, although Picasso, what there's only one person that counts in Naoya Inoue's title for real mandatory, and that's the next organization in line. That's all it breaks down to. All this other outside noise, because they're technically right. But the only thing they're leaving out from telling you is their place in line to really solidify their spot, because by revealing that, it would allow you can call their fighter a clout chaser. Imagine knowing that Picasso had the number one spot, but he was the third person in line. And if Picasso came out tomorrow and was like, Naoya Inoue, I'm your number one guy. You got to fight me. And they was to release that information, be like, bro, why are you stating? You know you're a clout chaser. You know you're third in line. I can't jump over these two dudes if they want it. They don't want it, then I can get to you. Because rightfully so, you're one of the four. He doesn't have one mandatory a year. He has four. Although it's pretty to put around your waist, it's a pain in the ass to have all four belts. Oh, is it a nightmare to please all your fucking mandatories? And what you gotta do, the only way these fuckers won't tell you. Like Usyk with Tyson Fury. And this is a joke in the locker rooms, in boxing, in professional boxing. This is a joke. If you ever win an IBF belt, the first thing you want to do is go check in with their schedule. Get a hold of the organization. That is one of the jokes in our locker rooms. Out of all the belts that you could just win and say, I'll go on vacation. Call me when you call me. Make sure you check in with the IBF. That is one of the biggest jokes been going around in boxing for years. Usyk didn't check in with the IBF. He thought he can go and sign a rematch clause with Tyson Fury and that he controls boxing. He lets the fans tell them, you're at the point of your career, you can call all the shots, which is bullshit, right? So every now and then, boxing got to remind the boxer, yo, get off your high horse. You know, do you really believe those are your belts? No, they're not. Those are our belts. That's our world stage. And you're at your job. We give you an opportunity to perform on a world stage. We provide that for you. And our belts are certified. So when you get them, the world acknowledges you as a world champion. But without our belt, go try to do that by yourself. Good luck, right? Okay. So Usyk says, I'm going to go fight Tyson Fury. And the IBF says, wait a minute. You have a mandatory. You need to fight this guy. And Usyk said, I already signed the contract with him. If I pull out of the fight, he'll sue me. And the IBF said, wait a minute. There you go, the boxer once again thinking that we give two shits about your plans. You think the IBF gives two shits about what the WBC, the WBA, and the WBO are doing? No. The organization only represents their own belt, the IBF. Now tell me, are you going to fight our mandatory, yes or no? I can't because I got to fight Tyson Fury. He'll sue me. Well, then, you know what? You should have checked with us before you signed that rematch clause, now shouldn't you? And we would have told you that you couldn't go ahead and do that. But since you want to go and do business by yourself, well, then that's your personal business. But the IBF, we have a schedule. Let me get my belt. We're going to give it to Dubois. You know where you can find us. They gave the belt to Dubois. And that's how it go because and then Usyk was like left there like and then you see how the IBF is? They'll give you the option to go out on your sword. That's cool. That's cool, right? Um I guess as a boxer, you don't want to go down in history that they stripped you. That's probably the ugliest way of losing your belt that you didn't honor as a champion. By being stripped, it's saying your championship reign was suspect. We had to strip you because you wouldn't fight the guy we were telling you to fight. You're really not that guy. So you don't want to be a boxer that the archives reads they stripped you. So they gave Usyk the opportunity to choose. Usyk was already locked in with Tyson Fury. He couldn't pull out. That was a done deal. He was losing the belt regardless. So they asked him, how would you like to do it? And he vacated the belt. By vacating the belt, that's like putting the belt down. You see, it's more honorable to do it that way than to be stripped. You don't want that, bro. Either way looks bad because there's going to be an asterisk to your belt of how you lost it. Anybody looking at your story in the Hall of Fame, they might ask questions. Well, what happened on that day? And the story will be told. You see? So that shit when they was like Naoya Inoue would have to vacate his belt, I was like, yeah, right. I was like, yeah, okay. He's not that kind of fighter. He's not. And the WBA belt is not known for stripping their champions. They're not known for that. They're just allowing the dude's promoter to get cocky to talk about a fucking ranking and then a mandatory that what they're really not telling you is their place in line for the belts. So they can all yell out what they want. There's only one thing that counts. Who's the next man up? And if he's saying, yep, I want my opportunity. Because as we all know, you don't have to, just ask Virgil Ortiz after Terrence Crawford. He was mandatory for over 2 years. Never put in the paperwork to fight Terrence Crawford. He was sitting up. Look, ask William Cepeda. William Cepeda was the number one across the board. Everybody's jumping over him. Everybody's getting title fights right over him. It's like you got to where you wanted to get in life, and he's out there on the ledge, and he looked down, and he got scared. You mean to tell me you climbed all of that to get to the top and get scared? It happens. I don't know what the hell William Cepeda's doing anymore, but I know he ain't fighting for no world championship. I know who he is. Keyshawn Davis. Right? Right? So, and in a sport where it's a single man sport, so many separate situations, not like a team. You could say, oh, this guy's fucking up on the team, right? No. Everybody's situation's different. Not two are alike, you know? And I see this shit talking amongst these guys. No, I'm the number one. No, I'm the number one. And he would have to drop the belt for no. Don't get your panties in a bunch. None of that shit you guys are yelling matters. None of it. And then one other thing I want to point out that if you are a number one contender to his belts, Naoya Inoue's belts, say that the next guy in line is not like pushing to fight him. And the other sanctioning bodies order their number one guys to fight him. Okay. Even if they order him to fight him, he doesn't have to take those fights. And you're going to notice they'll never strip him. They'll never threaten to, his belts. I mean, the promoter could say it, but the organization doesn't say it because technically they're not going to do it. Right. Because in what's fair is he's not mandatorily obligated to fight those guys. The sanctioning bodies only order it. which meaning they're sticking out their thumb hitchhiking. That's where they are. If you want to pick it up, you could pick up the fight. That's basically what that is. It's typically a good fight, so sometimes they pick him up, but you don't have to. That's when you can see that he's not really in the next number one slot. Him and his sanctioning body. Yeah. And I think legitimately, because of this entire debacle, depending on, you see, this Sam Goodman thing is bigger than in a lot of ways than a lot of people think. Because now we got to discuss, does this move Sam Goodman out of the way? And I think the only people that can is the boxing athletic committee. They're gonna have to review this and where he is, because you're gonna need to push Sam Goodman out of the way to allow these other guys' statuses to, to kick in. Because Sam Goodman's team in there, although some of these websites are already like scratching him out officially, I don't think he's out yet. Some of these websites like to get ahead of the things because they've been doing it for so many years, and typically they can see it unfold before and they can get in front of it. But there rare cases of those small opportunities that shit doesn't change, and they can side with Sam Goodman. They could see that they'll be like, no, he legitimately got 5 stitches. Wait a minute. It's like, he might have a strong argument. So Monday morning, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't, but I do know that officially he's not been pushed out yet. These are just the websites seeing moments like this play out, and they're getting early to it. That's all. Because it could be subject. Trust me, there's them small instance. Remember when Jamel Charlo was gonna fight Costanza, right? And uh he fought the fight and broke his hand and was supposed to fight Tim Tszyu. Remember? The WBO was gonna take their belt from Jamel Charlo. He submitted an x-ray of his hand and showed the break. And then they gave him an extension. They didn't strip him. Remember? So some of these injuries, like, okay, well, I'm being told, and I didn't see it. So they're saying that Loma provided x-rays of his back and he was given an extension from the IBF. Now, I heard that from a third party. Don't hold me on that. I didn't see no fucking x-ray. I'm telling you straight up. I didn't look this up, nothing. This is all third party stuff that I'm saying. So don't say Edwin said Loma said he had an x-ray. No. I'm being real transparent here, but that's what I was told just in recent, that Loma was supposed to give Bob Arum the decision at the beginning of the year whether he was going to walk away from the sport or entertain a big fight. Instead, what he did is, what I'm hearing is, he provided x-rays to the IBF, and I guess they gave him an extension. Now, the gentleman I'm talking, now, of course, these are guys that are in the world of boxing and stuff, so, but I need to check that up myself too as well. But yeah, that's what it was. What are you guys saying over here? MJ will with the WBA the next. That's why the WBA could strip. Oh yeah. Okay, I read that. I'm just glad to watch a Naoya Inoue fight. Yes, man, me too. And that's what I've been talking about throughout this entire show. That's where I'm at with him. He did it so good. And we demand the best fighting the best. Well, this is a situation where he already kicked all the best's ass. There's no one left. And when we keep demanding the best, had we would have wanted like Stephen Kubo Fulton first, and then threw a fucking TJ Doheny and a Kim in there, and then Stephen Kubo Fulton, and then Luis Pantera Nari. You would have broke it up in there. Instead, the world, no, the best. Well, then he did all of that, and now look, Sam Goodman, you can't even get him to stop shaking, to get from underneath his bed to admit that, come on, man, I knew that dude didn't want that fight against my boy The monster is too dangerous, bro. And I think the his biggest obstacle now, he's conquered the 122 in my eyes, and the biggest obstacle was 126. But after careful review and really like breaking it down, I'm in agreement that he might fight at 122 two more times, at least two more times. Yes. I don't think there's going to be no announcement at this fight that he's going to be going up to 126. It's just now who's he going to fight in Las Vegas? Who's Bob Arum going to get to show off his guy? Bob Arum wants to make a splash in Vegas with his guy, with Naoya Inoue. Who can he get? And let me tell you, let's just be honest. Boxing, in the world of boxing, things are subject to change. When you got people like Turkey Al Sheikh and Riyadh season coming into that factor, I mean, Riyadh season, MJ fight, being a Muslim fighter himself, and they want to put that fight out there with Muslim and the Japan type thing. I could see where that marketing ploy for them too as well fits in, because they're being Muslims putting up the money. So I can see that as a possibility. Definitely. It's an attractive, whether or not it sells or they, help it along the fight. I think it has some momentum. There was some shit talking between the two fighters, actually. So I- you know, um, if the fans can look past his record, um, maybe we can sell you the fact on a good fight with that. And that's it. But when you got big players, like I was saying, and in situations like that, money can move mountains. It really can. And I know that Naoya Inoue is not motivated by money. I've already established that in his career. I already saw that you weren't going to put a dollar amount in front of his face to have him fight some fucking tune-up fight, because he could have did that 3 years ago with the Saudi prince when they were hinting around and throwing around $69 million at him just before that Stephen Kubo Fulton fight. Remember all those things? And Naoya Inoue was not willing to break his streak of championship fights for no gimme fight or a bag of money. You guys do remember all this shit, right? So he's already proven to us that Naoya Inoue is not about money. He's about legacy. And he's coming into his 24th consecutive world title fight in a row. That's why he wouldn't fight that dude, the Saudi prince wanted him to fight at a catch weight way back then. And now Saudi Prince is just giving him like outlandish amount of money. I heard like $6 million to wear a fucking t-shirt that says Riyadh season on it. Be kind of like an ambassador for Riyadh season. That's all he got, Naoya, anyway, because he's definitely not his promotional company, but Turkey Al Sheikh, it kind of owns like Top Rank now a little bit, because Top Rank is working with them. Yes, he does. Hmm. Very interesting situation there. You own, if you control Top Rank, then you control Naoya Inoue. Hmm. Turkey Al Sheikh might be able to dictate who his next fight's going to be and where. If you control Top Rank, you can control Naoya Inoue. You might not get him to agree to everything you say, but you might be able to get, yeah. And the Muslim fighter is Ahmadalia. Yeah. Riyadh season, Ahmadalia. I think this Turkey dude is gonna make a power move. He's really gonna use Naoya anyway. I think he already had plans. I think this was all a plan. I think he already had future plans that he invited him down to Turkey, gave him his T-shirt, paid him that money. I think this was all in the makings for this Marlon Tapales fight. I mean, MJ fight. I think he was dressing it up this whole time. Yeah, he just might be. Fucking right. He's gonna have him fight him in Riyadh season, bro. He's gonna have Naoya Inoue fight him in Riyadh season, man. Out and he's gonna fight MJ. This motherfucking turkey dude, bro. Now you're trying to control the best fighter in the world. He couldn't secure Terrence Crawford. He couldn't control Saul. He's going after Naoya Inoue. All right, let's see where this shit ends up, man. Yeah, guys, listen, fight fans, you guys have been amazing. Um, Shit, we got over 50 people watching in this thing. We ain't going nowhere. Shit, we gonna talk about this one then. Ah man, listen, no. But for real, guys, I just trying to play about all these scenarios in my head. And I love myself, boxing and the possibilities of some of these things occurring before they happen, and to be able to figure them out before they happen and kind of give like an insight of how these guys are seeing it too. But fight fans, listen, I know there's 50 guys in here, but I'm tired. I got to get myself something to eat, man. You guys are amazing. Listen, I will be back. I'm going to cover this story right here, and I'm going to get you guys some more insights. I promise you guys, as soon as I started feeling better, I was gonna get out of my house because now I'm getting out after this cold. I'm breaking down out of this cold, and I didn't want to get out there and pass it to anybody. So I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna talk to some of my sources from Top Rank and things like that. And I promise you guys, I'm gonna find out as much as possible for you guys, and I'm gonna bring it back down to the show. And we're gonna see this stuff, and we're gonna figure it out. What's up, Mark? Um, the 19 points in his sponsorship deal doesn't involve him choosing Naoya opponent, but Naoya Inoue wants to fight, and Saudi and Turkey plans to. Okay, Mark, right. You are 100% correct in this. Yes, you are. In my little brain, in my mind, what you didn't see and hear is me getting around what you're saying. That's exactly what I was doing in my crazy little brain. Let me explain, Mark, right? Okay. Turkey that can't call Naoya Inoue because he's not his promotional company. Right. But if you can own Top Rank, well then you can influence Top Rank to make decisions on Naoya Inoue fights. Do you see? And remember that Turkey Al Sheikh had Top Rank, the zone, and Golden Boy signed those contracts, and I put them out on my show too. Everybody did, all over the world. The partnership he has, Turkey, with Top Rank now, and all three of the top boxing promoters. The only people that wouldn't play ball was the PBC, right? So if you got a partnership with Top Rank in writing, you're you're Top Rank sponsor. You're the one putting up the money for Top Rank. And if you put up the money, when have you ever put up the money, $200 million into something and say, I have no absolute say in what's going to happen with my money? Where have you ever heard that happen in business? Yeah. Oh, Top Rank. Oh, you want me to what? Sponsor you for 100 million? Oh, yeah. And I got absolutely no say on who's fighting who. Sure, sign me up. Take my 100 million. No. You get the fight. You ask Top Rank, you interested? You put out a large number. Now you control Naoya Inoue's fight secretly. Now you're choosing his opponents, but making it seem like Top Rank made them when you were the one that put up the money. And that's how I see it, Mark. That's how you can control them. You don't actually have a say in it, but you have a say in the people that actually have a say in it. You control them. Right. Okay. And what's this right here? This guy's saying, "Sorry, man. I watched the start of the stream. I know it's April fight as well." See, that's a lot of things that these promotional, and I already talked about this, and I feel that that's Bob Arum just giving a big fu to MJ to try to show him that he's not going to get the fight next to MJ because Agmedalia is supposed to be the one that's fighting Naoya Inoue at the Sam Goodman. And Agmedalia with Ed Hearn made that whole debacle about he was ducking him and that they went to court and that they and all this other shit when in actuality all they went to was the Boston Athletic Committee and they told Ed Hearn who was next in line and that it wasn't MJ and Ed Hearn and there was nothing they could do about it. But the Ed Hearn went back to the WBA and said, WA, could you please back us up and order the fight? And WBA said, yeah, we could do that. And they ordered the fight. Just because they ordered the fight doesn't make it so. Hold on. Sorry about that. I couldn't hold it no more. I had to go to the bathroom, bro. I had to get up and run down the hall, man. Oh, shit. All right, where were we? What's up? How you doing, brother? Yo, so where was I? I had to go let that go, man. I was trying to like cut it short, but I was like, yo, I see y'all we in here, but so where were we? But dude, Aaron, what? Barbara has no control. Control. It is issued. What? Aaron has no control. Right. In a way you're correct. In a way you're right, right? Crypto, right? Look, um, see, Osha, his Japanese promoter that's in co-affiliated with uh Top Rank, which in fact that he's an old Japanese champion himself, the promoter, right? He's been around for a while, right? And although he seems to be the one that is initiating the fights for Naoya Inoue, Bob Arum does have a lot of say so, whether you believe it or not. And without Bob Arum in Top Rank, that Japanese promoter wouldn't make Naoya Inoue anywhere into the fighter he is. Because of Top Rank and Top Rank's connections to the boxing world and Uncle Bob secured him a lot of those fights. That's worldwide exposure. You might be big in Japan, but not worldwide like Top Rank is in ESPN. So you're gonna need them. And at the end of the day, if Naoya Inoue's promoter ain't putting up the money, then he ain't got to say. Typically, at the end of the day, who makes the decisions are the people that are putting up the money, the sponsors. And the reason why they're putting up because this fight is pitched to these sponsors and they tell them these two men are going to box. We would like for you to give us some money and we're going to give you a return on your money. You're going to make money if you invest in this fight. The reason why the investors are investing in this fight is because it happens to be these two particular dudes. You don't get a room full of investors and show them a blank screen and say, invest money into our promotional company that eventually will invest your money into some random fights. So you as an investor, you're going to really sit there and say, we're just giving you money, millions of dollars, and we don't know who we're investing into. What fight are we investing in? That's how the fighters get paid more money. That's how the fighter gets, you know what I mean? Because of the investors. So when you're sitting there saying, shots, his Naoya Inoue's guy calls the shots, maybe to a certain place, this is the guy that he would like him to fight. He can suggest names, has a schedule. He's a real smart businessman from what I hear from Japan. He ain't no pushover, I tell you that. And him and Bob Arum do good business. But there's going to be a point where Top Rank, if they want to flex, there's nothing they can really do. Naoya Inoue is legally, technically signed to Top Rank. So whatever contract deal they have, Uncle Bob is in attendance, isn't he? Yeah. So he has say and a lot of say. So it's when you pitch these fights to these sponsors that want to get involved with boxing and make $1 or $2 and see a return on their investment, they're going to pick what fights they want to invest in. When that name comes across the table, the investors are going to say, yeah, we want to see Naoya Inoue, but we sure the fuck are not paying a lot of money to see him fight Sam Goodman. And we're not paying a lot of money to see him fight him Kim. No, he'll get his regular pay, couple mil. And then when that one fighter's name come across, investors invest in that fight and it becomes a mega fight. They got more money to buy a bigger venue. They got more money to hire staff. They got more money because investors put in money. And that's how that goes typically, guys. They know who it is. David Picasso's the next man in line. Well, if David Picasso's the next man in line, well, then MJ is going to be standing outside again, not playing any reindeer games. And his whole campaign is going to be Naoya Inoue's ducking me. He's going to be on the outside standing in. And sometimes the reality of it all, right? The way you ever see that this particular situation has happened in boxing before, where that you see one organization order the fighter to fight their mandatory to a champion that has all the belts. He denies the fight with this guy, and because he went and fought this mandatory, they stripped him of his belt. There has been many situations in boxing like that. And then the boxer goes on and says, yo, I can't fight all the mandatory. This is bullshit. They stripped me of my belt when I was already fighting this mandatory over here. Boxing sucks. The organization. That's when you can see the fighter lying. You can blatantly see the lie. Yeah, it might look confusing from the outside looking in, but if you just move the curtain for 1 second, the truth will be revealed. In actuality, what he did was he fought the mandatory that he was ordered to fight. Now, he didn't fight the mandatory that he was mandated to fight. That's the fight you had to fight. The orders one from the other sanctioning body, they couldn't strip your belt. But he chose to go the other way because it might have been more money that way. There might be more money to fight, just like Usyk's situation. Usyk could have fought the IBF champion. There wasn't no money for him in that. The money was in Riyadh with Tyson Fury. So he sacrificed his belt to go that way. That's when you will lose your belt. Yes. Yes, you will. You will be stripped because in that situation, what you actually did was not fight the legit mandatory, but you're trying to play stupid because you want to tell the world, look what they still stripped me of my belt and I did nothing wrong. I'm fighting that number one. I'm ordered right here. He's an order man. And the fighter will keep throwing that word mandatory in there to try to sell it to you, to try to sell you what he just did. But technically, he didn't fight the mandatory. He fought the ordered by the ordered sanction. The like the WBO ordered him to fight their champion for the number one spot, which they can do that. But the fighter's playing stupid. The money fight was in the one over here. He was going to get stripped, but he had an option. He didn't have to take the money fight. No, he didn't have to take it. He could have just honored the mandatory, fought that fight, waited a little while, then try to go back to the money fight. But in doing so, you could take the opportunity of taking a loss and fucking up the money. This guy can end up beating you on the verge of you trying to like please everybody. You could blow everything. It could all, you know what I mean? It could all go wrong. So some fighters opt to ignore that, get stripped, and go after the money. Just like Jamel Charlo did with Saul Canelo Alvarez. Perfect example. Perfect example. Tim Tszyu was the mandatory to Jamel Charlo's. How many times did they order that fight? Did they ever strip Jamel Charlo? No. And Tim Tszyu was saying, I'm the mandatory. They were saying, yeah, you are. You're just not next in line. We can't officially strip him. But as soon as he fought that fight, broke his hand, and they made it the mandatory to Tim Tszyu, he was obligated to fight Tim Tszyu. What did he do? He fought Saul Canelo Alvarez. What did they do? They stripped him of the WBO and gave it to Tim Tszyu. What did Jamel Charlo say? Oh, I didn't know the WBO was going to strip me because no, you were nullified. They took, man. And the fighter tries to play dumb. That's all that happens there. Yeah. Right. 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 Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I explained this situation right here is that Naoya Inoue took and fought the number one for the WBC, but he wasn't in line. So the WBC is saying, even though you fought the number one early, Naoya Inoue, we're not going to miss our place in line by validating him as that he was the guy for our shot type shit. Naoya Inoue at that time, he had the choice to pick Luis Pantera Nari, and he chose Luis Pantera Nari, and it was because of the obvious situation, the history that Luis Pantera Nari disrespected Japan, beat their champion twice, tested positive for PEs, missed weight by 5 pounds. They banned them from Japan ever coming back and competing there. Um, and it had a big so um for Japan, Naoya Inoue wanted some get back against Mexico. That was obvious. That was a straight hit. That was Japan sending out their best warrior to get revenge against Mexico. That's all that was. I don't think Luis Pantera Nari really earned that spot to get up there and be able to fight Naoya. No, 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 no. He was like the number one. It just didn't come around. He didn't maintain the number one. Had he maintained it and legitimately been given the order, then that would be straight up. But he had an option to pick him, so he did. Now Luis Picasso is what? The number one by the WBC again? And did the WBC's place come into Naoya Inoue's reign? That's all it counts. That's all it counts. Each, like, I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Do you see all the belts? WBC, IBF, WBA, WBO. Each of them can order a fight for their number one ranked opponent in their organization, meaning their guy pays them money to get them a fight, right? Okay. So there's only one that's real. One of them, let's just for hypothetically say that the WBC is the mandatory. The other ones are the ordered. The WBC guy in the number one slot, the WBC says to him, you're the mandatory to the next person at his belts. Do you want the fight? No, I'm having a baby right now. I can't make that fight. I'm going on vacation. Okay. You'll keep your status as number one, but we're going to have to move the needle. So it goes to the next organization. They get the phone call. They're next in line. Meanwhile, the IBF guy, he's not sure. But the WBA guy, he wants smoke. He wants his shot. Right? So the WBA guy starts, hey, WBA, I'm your fighter. Fucking help me get a shot. Order the fight. WBA sends out a letterhead ordering the fight. But they're not next in line. The IBF is still stalling. Here's the WBA guy going around saying, this guy's ducking me. Look, they ordered the fight. I'm his mandatory. True, but false. True, but false. The WBA is backing you up. They did give you the order. They just don't really. It's up to the fighter to be like, hey, IBF guy, what are you doing? No? Hey, WBA, you know what? You were too fucking cocky. Matter of fact, you weren't next in line. The WBO was. So you know what? I'm going to bypass you, and I'm going to fight him. He can do that. It gets fucking stupid. Yeah. But the one thing is that you got to pay attention to is that mandatory guy, the real mandatory, not the fake mandatory that everybody claims. That's the only key. That's the key. If you could keep track of who's next in line, you'll know everything. Everything else, all the other lies will start to fall by the wayside. And who's serious and who's not. If the mandatory is not petitioning, then on the low, you can see he doesn't really want the fight. He's letting these other guys get it. And that's where Marlon Tapales in the boxing world on Monday morning is going to have to figure out. That's where I'm at. I'm not sure they really ruled out Sam Goodman like this, guys. I'm not. I can't say that. I can't positively say that they ruled out Sam Goodman. I can't positively say that they ruled out all these other possibilities. But what I can say for sure is, Naoya Inoue is going to fight on the 24th, and I can't wait to see him. So, listen, fight fans, look, this has been an amazing show. I eventually got to go eat something, right, guys? So listen, fight fans, tune in with me. I'll keep you informed. I'm gonna look up some more things about this tricky situation and where I see it. And I'll be getting back to you. So, fight fans, thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please give these videos like, give me a like, and I'll be on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been amazing. Thank you. Love yourselves and good night.